this is something I'm probably going to have to clip to deal with the simps and deal with the Disney simps and deal with the people who are insane. So let me break this down for you. This is once and for all ending the but my bonds argument with Disney, because all the people out there who don't know jack shit about the law in Florida, they don't know anything about special districts. They couldn't even name one other special district in Florida if I didn't tell them that, hey, you have ones right next to Disney, like Celebration, like Bonnet Creek, like Reunion, like Mystic Dunes. You have tons of neighboring special districts. They can either be formed under Chapter 189 or Chapter 190 of the Florida statutes. Ask me how I know. But people have been saying, oh, Andrew, you're just addressing the tax issues regarding Disney's special district. Oh, but the bonds, somebody has to take the bonds and the bonds aren't going to go away and yada, yada. No, listen up here, dumbasses. The bonds are levied on very specific property. They are levied on only the Disney property. That cannot be expanded beyond the Disney property. The general taxpayers cannot do that. If they try to enforce that, that will be thrown out. The case law is clear. The precedent is clear with every other special district in literally the state of Florida. If you try to impose a lien, impose a tax, impose anything outside of the boundaries of where it was originally assessed, that's not going to go well. If you need to do that, you have to have separate notice, separate hearing. You have to try to expand those assessments through a process. Orange County, Osceola County, they are not going to do that. Also, frankly, they'd have to consent to it because at this point, there's no clear benefit to them from those Disney improvements. The rest of the community at large, Osceola, Orange County, they don't benefit from those improvements. The only people who benefit are Disney and the Disney entities. So there was a horrible legal take that came up from the Miami Herald. This was forwarded to me by Valiant Renegade. Shout out to him in our podcast the other day. So here we go. This is a reply to our video. And this is from Andrew Blythe. He said, this article is from the Miami Herald concerning Disney World's response to Governor DeSantis. And this article was written by a Disney historian. So we're literally talking about a paid Disney simp. And by the way, whether they're Disney historians or whether they're lawmakers, these are all people that are paid to simp for Disney because Disney, they are a bunch of little bitches who cannot speak for themselves. They speak through their proxies rather than coming at you directly because that's how Disney rolls. The only time they will speak up directly is to simp for the LGBTQ++ community. That is it. Instead, they get their shills to go speak in the Miami Herald, and I like how it says Herald here, but let's accept that's a typo, right? To talk for them. So let's read this argument. They say, as Florida legislatures were rushing through the passage of the bill to repeal the special district that governs Walt Disney World last week, they failed to notice an obscure provision in the state law that says the state cannot do what the legislators were doing unless the district's bond debt was paid off. Disney, however, noticed, and Grizzly Creek Improvement District quietly sent a note to its investors to show that it was confident the legislature's attempt to dissolve the special tax district operating the 39 square mile parcel it owned in the two counties violated the pledge the state made when it enacted the district in 1967 and therefore was not legal. This is retarded on several levels, and I'm going to break down why. I'm going to break down why this is straight up dumb. Okay? Number one, that provision. It essentially says that the boundaries and powers are not going to be altered or moved. It never says that the district cannot be dissolved or disbanded. That's a different thing. Altering a boundary or moving a power or removing or adding a power is different than dissolving the district. This is the who's your daddy argument. And people need to understand who's your daddy. Because when you forget who's your daddy, you get out of line. And Disney has forgot who's their daddy. Or in this case, RCID, Reedy Creek Improvement District. They've forgotten who's their daddy. And listen, legal mindset here, I will always remind you who's daddy. Listen up. You've got different levels of government. You've got the federal, the state, your county, and your city. Your state, they're the daddy over the cities and the counties. That's right. They get to choose when a city, a county, or a special district gets the right to exist. They can wave their wand and they can disappear. That's the power of the state. They're above municipalities. They control municipalities. They control who can be a municipality. It's called preemption. It's law school 101. Higher levels of government control. They can create and they can destroy. They brought you into this world and they can take you out, motherfucker. Basics. The state legislature created Reedy Creek Improvement District. They created the special district out of whole cloth. It created it from nowhere. It pulled it out of nowhere. And guess what? It pulled it out of nowhere at a time in which the legislators were paid off by Disney. At a time before the Florida State Constitution, before these other laws governing special districts were even a thing. And because of that, Disney got away with a lot of shit. Frankly, that provision shouldn't even be in there, but I'll get into that in a second. But the point is, if the state legislature created them, they can destroy them. Imagine this at the federal level. So imagine Joe Biden's in there. He creates this Ministry of Disinformation, right? Imagine that Congress, simping for this ministry, says that they cannot be disbanded. They cannot be disbanded. They cannot be disbanded ever. Is that actually a legal provision? Can Congress do that? So what if there's a re-election, right? In the fall, everything flips over. Republican House, Republican Senate. They come in and say, fuck the Ministry of Disinformation. And then the Democrats can sue to keep it around because there's a provision that says it can't be disbanded? No. If Congress brought it in, Congress can take it out. That's a ridiculous provision. It's a ridiculous argument. And the same argument would apply at the state level. It's ridiculous. If you have the power to create it, you have the power to destroy it at any time. Now, there is a concern about the bond debt, but that's dealt with under Florida law. Well, I'll talk about that. I'll give you a refresher on that again in a second. But it's dealt with clearly under Florida law. But if you can create, you can destroy. And saying that as long as there's bond debt out there, you cannot destroy a special district is so ludicrous to be insane. That essentially means that a special district can never be destroyed because special districts, spoiler alert, are always issuing debt because it's the cheapest way to finance things. It is tax-free, and you get bondholders to invest in it because it's AAA rated or AA rated. So they're able to get a prime investment in government debt that they can put on the tax roll and force you to pay no matter what. Much better than corporate debt. A corporation can fold. But a government, they can take from you. They can put it on the tax roll. And if you don't pay, in Florida, they sell tax certificates. And they will take your home, take your property, and they will sell that shit to the highest bidder. You are going to get paid if you buy a government bond like the ones issued by Reedy Creek Improvement District. You're going to get paid. It's going to come out of the roll. The tax roll, one way or another. So they're always going to issue bond debt. Bond debt is continually extended. In fact, in 2020, they did a new issuance to get more money to expand the roads. How do I know? Because at that time, I was doing deals with them, and they were talking about the bond money they were getting to expand the roads for their next generation transportation. Disney is thinking about putting in automated transportation, automated buses, automated shuttles, and they want to have a dedicated lane for that. I don't know if I just spoiled that or I just leaked information. It wasn't confidential because I was under no confidentiality agreement with Disney. Suck it, rat. However, to try to enforce that provision would be unconscionable. And you don't enforce unconscionable provisions. You don't enforce provisions that are ridiculous that would effectively mean that the government can't do what it has the power to do. You just don't do it. So this argument is 100% bunk. Now, Reedy Creek can be confident, but guess what? They're just trying to keep their investors in line because what happened to Disney stock, people? It crashed. It tanked. It fell like, it fell like Jack Murphy on a box of dicks. I mean, it was ridiculous. Or Jada Pinkett Smith into August Alsina's bedroom. That's what we're talking about right now. Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. So, anyways, guys, that's what I have to say for Disney. This is a case closed. This is done. And listen, you Disney simps, go back to where you belong. Put on the ears. Put on the tail. Go back to your NAMBLA. Go back to your map communities and leave normal people of the state of Florida alone. Because we're out for your shit. We're on to your shit, and we're not going to put up with your woke agenda. Case closed. All right.